Hello, this is Roland. Today I wanted to stop by to talk a little bit about math, maybe about science, but about math. And this video is dedicated to actually two kinds of people. One, parents of kids who, especially kids that are being home educated or homeschooled, or kids who have an independent study program. Okay? And also to adults who want to start learning, who want to refresh their math, or start to learn something they never learned before. Okay? So that's what I want to talk about today. So let's begin with the topic of algebra. Okay, algebra. Incidentally, I want to mention that I did homeschool my own son from age 1 all the way through beginning of college. And he did rather well. He went on to attend one of the world's top universities. If I said the name, you'd immediately recognize it as being maybe the top university, maybe the top public university in the whole world. And he graduated from there with highest academic distinction, which is the same as magna cum laude. A lot of schools will say magna cum laude. Well, that's what he had. And his grade point average was 3.98 or 3.99, something like that. Plus awards, plus scholarship. He attended on a scholarship. And then he went on to immediately to a PhD program at another of the world's top universities on a full fellowship. Everything paid for. Education, classes, insurance, medical, dental, everything. Fees all paid for, plus a stipend. Okay, so that's not bad. So I know something about education. Not to mention that I taught management for many years at both the graduate and undergraduate level at several universities. So let's begin with algebra, and I'm just going to get right to it. Don't have a lot of time. In this video, I'll focus on a couple of textbooks, and in another video, I'll talk about online resources, because I've spent a lot of time on this. Let's start with algebra. I want to show you my favorite book, okay, for algebra, and then tell you why, and then suggest a couple of others. So here we go. Let's get started. It's called Forgotten Algebra by Barbara Lee Blow. Barbara Lee Blow, PhD. This is the book right here. Forgotten Algebra. It's easy to recognize. This cover is easy to recognize. Well, you know what? This book came out a long time ago. If you go to Amazon, take a look at the comments. People like it. Long time ago, and it's been updated. You know, this is the third edition here. Third edition. That's what I have. Okay, so what do I like about this book? What I like about this book is, first of all, it's not too big, and it's not too small. It's just right. What's the problem with most textbooks? Too big. Way too big. See, they keep coming out with newer and newer ones with more and more and more, and more pictures and more anecdotes and more little stories and more everything, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And why do they do that? Well, the main first of all, they think it's better. Bigger is better, but it's not necessarily. In fact, usually isn't. Secondly, they want to keep coming out with new editions so they can make more money. So, get everybody to have to buy another new book. Okay. Plus, it looks like they're providing some substance, which maybe they are, but the problem is it's too much. It's too distracting. It's like looking in a magazine. You know how you look in a magazine and there's a picture there, and there's an anecdote there, and a tidbit. There's another picture, and there's. See, that's not what students need. The world is distracting enough. See, iPhones, video games, internet, television, movies, music. There's plenty of distraction already. Okay, they don't need more distraction. Okay, so this book is very good. Forgotten Algebra. What do I like about it? It covers all the topics, and it's very straightforward. It's a very straightforward book. Okay, very straightforward. No color pictures, no little anecdotes, no colored pictures, no little anecdotes. No thises and no that's. Just simple. Okay, not dumbed down. Just simple. Gives you everything you need to know right here. Basic algebra. This is it. Algebra. Okay, all the topics, and it's not dumbed down. And the other thing I like is that it has good examples, a lot of examples, worked out examples. And then the other thing I like is that at the end of each chapter there are questions to be answered. And the questions to be answered, so you can do the questions, and then at the back of the book they have the answers, all of the answers, not just the odd number or even number problems, but all of them. And some of them worked out too. Okay, so it's excellent. Now this is good. I would say this is good for homeschool, and it's also good for someone who's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old and wants to go refresh algebra or learn algebra for the first time. This would be excellent. Okay. So I'd like to recommend this book. It's called Forgotten Algebra, but it doesn't mean you had to have algebra before. You could be a 12-year-old starting algebra. You could use this one. Okay. It gives you all the good stuff without anything extra that's not necessary. And it goes right to the point too. Not too many proofs and things that just lead people astray and confuse them. Forgotten Algebra. Okay, now let's talk about calculus. Now I have a book that I want to recommend. It's by the same author. In fact, I discovered Forgotten Algebra because I had used this book, Forgotten Calculus. Okay. This is the book that I used. See, I had calculus in high school, had it again in college, and then I wanted to begin studying again after age 60. And my knowledge of calculus was very limited. I had forgotten everything, basically. I started doing this with this book, page 1, page 2. Then I looked at each example and worked it out myself along with the author. And then I worked every single problem at the end of each chapter. Okay? So it's got everything in here. So why do I recommend this? Okay, I'll tell you why. And this is really important. It's hard to find a good calculus book out there. It really is. There are some for maybe for engineering students, and I don't know if they're any good either, but I'll just assume that they are. But the average calculus book now, when you go look for a textbook, it's like this thick, and it goes into all kinds, way too much. It spends forever, for example, on limits. Okay, forever. And some people will never get beyond that. It's too boring. B, too much, too in-depth. And you know what I like about this book? This book is basically, it takes a business approach. So there are a lot of real-world examples in here, real-world examples and questions. But they're about cost and revenue and marginal cost, see, and other and areas of business where you'll use the derivative or the integral. And those are easy. Those are easy, see. And there are a few physics, a few kinematics problems about gravity and so forth. There are some, okay, but not too much, and you are not going to get frustrated with this book by being given stuff that's way beyond you, see, or that's confusing, or problems that are so difficult that they're just frustrating. Okay, you won't get that with this one. You will get a very good book. When you're done with this one, there's more that I like too. The author, Barbara Lee Blow, B-L-E-A-U, Ph.D. She emphasizes learning to draw graphs. Okay, and she includes how you can do it with the graphing calculator, but she recommends you do, and that's what I did. It really helped me with maxima and minima. It really, really, really helped me to actually draw the graphs, to graph the problems. And so it's just a great book. It would be good for, see, with this, if you use this book, then you will be so good at calculus. Then you can go on, see, to various physics problems. Okay? You can go on to them if you want to, but you don't have to. But if you want to, you can. You'll be ready for them. You'll be ready. But you won't have gotten frustrated and throw the book down ahead of early on because it was just too complex and too difficult. So this is it's hard to find a good calculus book. And then try to find a good business calculus book. It's almost impossible. Okay? Except, thank goodness, for this one. It's called Forgotten Calculus, but if you are interested in business calculus, then this is the book for you. Because the problems in here, 90% of them are from the world of business and economics. Okay? So this is just excellent. Okay? There's another book. I said, because I spend a lot of time looking for books for myself, actually. And some of the books were so complex and so they just, your head swims just reading a single page. Here's another one, Calculus Demystified. This is actually a good book, also. Okay, this is good. And there's one of these, the Demystified series. It's called Business Calculus Demystified. Okay, it's also very good because what you get here is just the information, and then you're given worked out problems, and then you're given exercises, and then at the back of the book, and then there's the complete answer. So this is also good. These are good calculus books. Especially this one. For business calculus or just calculus in general, for a high school student or for someone who wants to refresh their calculus or someone who never studied calculus and they're 30, 40, 50 years old now, this would be an excellent book. And all the questions are answered in the all of the questions are the correct answer is given at the back of the book. And I think about half of them are actually worked out for you. Just an excellent book. Okay? So, those are the books that I want to recommend. Oh, and here's one more. Precalculus. So this would be algebra and trigonometry. Okay? The next thing before calculus. Precalculus. Barron's Easy Precalculus. Okay, this Barron's has a bunch of series here. They got physics and everything. I've looked at all the other ones, trigonometry and so forth. Be honest with you, don't care for it, but this one I like, the Easy Precalculus. Once again, it's inviting because it's easy to read, easy to understand. The examples are good. The problems are excellent. Okay. And so it's just great, but there's not, like I said, tons of colored pictures and all kinds of extra stuff and theory and proofs and things and complicated problems that just make you dizzy. None of that. Just very, very nicely laid out and simple it gets right to the nitty gritty. That's what these books that I'm talking about do. They just get right to the nitty gritty without distraction. Without fanfare, okay, without pandering, see, just simple mathematics. Explained, examples given, and then problems to solve. And the other thing, it's hard to find problems. Those of you who are looking for, you want problems to work on. You know that you have to do the problems. You have to. Okay. Now, in another video, I will talk about online help. There's some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful YouTube videos available. Some really nice people that have done an excellent job. Okay, and I use those for my own learning, for physics, for calculus, for trigonometry, for certain aspects of algebra that I want to refresh myself on. But, like logarithms, natural log, derivative of the natural log, those things I need a little refreshing. So I go on. But there's no substitute for working problems. Now, these books here will give you mostly short problems. Okay? There are some longer ones too, but mostly short problems. Okay? So you have a chance to practice the basic, practice. So it's nice to find a book that has problems and then gives you the solutions, not just a half of them. See? Or you have to buy a student workbook or something else. See? It's all here. Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention are calculators real quick here since I've got your attention. I have two calculators. The first one I have is this TI-30XA. This is a Texas Instruments calculator. Just a basic calculator. This one, an older version. I got it at the thrift store for, I think, $1.50. Okay, it wasn't working because the battery was out of electricity. So I got it for, I think, about $1.50. It's wonderful. Very, this is excellent for trigonometry, which I like to do and which I'll talk about also. In another video, I'll talk about trigonometry books. Very simple. Sine, cosine, tangent function. It's got everything you need, and it has a nice big pi right there, pi, which is really nice for radians. Okay, you don't have to press second and then something else. There's your pi right there. So this is very, very good. Okay, so I use this one for trigonometry. I do trigonometry in the morning the way some people do crossword puzzles. I love to do trigonometry problems. And then here's my other one. This is my Casio FX 115ES Plus. This is a really, really neat calculator. What it does is it gives you, when you enter the numbers here and so on, it puts it up here as if you were looking at a real problem. It lays it out for you, just as if you were looking at the problem. 1 plus 1 divided by 4. Parentheses times pi. See what I mean? It lays it right out like that for you. All laid out, the whole problem. Then you can always go back and change something if you need to. So it's just excellent. I got this one at Walmart. Okay. I think it was like $12 or $14. Just wonderful, wonderful little calculator. And I don't have a graphing calculator. I don't need a graph. See, it's more something doing it for me. I don't need somebody to do it for me. In those cases where I do need to graph something, which is not very often, but when I do, well, then you know what? I just graph it myself. Okay, I don't need to spend $100-something for a graphing calculator. But this one has everything you could possibly need. This is a Casio. I forgot to mention, this is a Casio. I bought it at Walmart. So I got those two calculators, and they're very, very good. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little lecture. So why did I start again? Well, initially I was interested in cosmology and in physics. And I ended up writing a book about Einstein and Augustine. It's called A Weekend with Einstein and Augustine. I wrote the book. It's on Amazon. It's a beautiful book. Okay? It involves some advanced physics. But I realized that I was very rusty, and then there's some things that I hadn't learned. So I started with trigonometry. And then next came calculus. And then after that, physics. Or all of them together. But the very first thing was trigonometry. That's the first thing I did. Okay? Because I wanted to have a solid basis. Sure, I had trigonometry in high school. Okay? Sure I did. But I wanted to really be up to good at it. So I began doing my trigonometry every morning. And lo and behold, it led into everything else. And then I was able to continue with my physics studies and study physics at a more basic level. Okay? Because although I had written some beautiful advanced things, I wanted to have all the basics. So I kind of did it backwards. Okay? First I did the advanced, then I did the basic stuff, which I'm still doing. And I'm enjoying it immensely. Okay? Well, hope you enjoyed this. I'll make another video about homeschooling and about some of the things that I discovered along the way. And I think could be useful. Could be useful to you, helpful to you. And also you parents that have kids in school, whatever school, whether it's private or public, and you need to help, they need help. You can see they need help. Or what they're getting in school is boring, or it's too much. See, it's either too much too soon, or too little too late. It's either too fast, or it's too slow, or it's too advanced and they fall by the wayside, or it's dumbed down and it's too boring. See what I mean? It seems like they never get it right. Every kid is different. See? So I think it'd be good for you to see what else I have to say on the subject. My name is Roland.